Greetings, travelers!
Greetings, travelers!
Yay! Look at us.
We're
Look at
here.
that live thing. I'm so impressed with us.
Look at that. It almost looked professional. It was crazy.
It did. I won't tell anybody if you won't. We are 12 travelers out there. We're doing another live in August of Antiquities. I love that. So
yeah.
That's going to be our August. I realize this is live in July, but it will be on the podcast. And anyway, fun stuff to keep time to talk about time travel. I feel like it's our own personal time travel way back machine.
It really does feel like that at times. The fact we're just now coming on August, we're recording this on July 29th live for our YouTube audience and our Instagram and a couple other places. So hopefully some of you are on some of the socials and interacting with us. Feel free to comment in the chats and we'll respond if we can. But this isn't our questions episode. This is one of our listener tales episodes. You guys have flooded us. I mean, literally flooded us with listener tales. And we're so happy because you guys send us the best stuff. Oh my gosh.
That's true. What's really fun is that they send us the best stuff and I get excited to read it and then I get completely freaked out and then can't sleep well. It's a very vicious cycle for me, but I do want to throw two things out there real quick. Is one, do not forget we'll be at Squonkapalooza. The entire Eerie Travels crew, including the amazing Beau Lake, who's here but behind the scenes with us, and Carrie. So it should be super fun. And then it should be up on the website this week is our Bigfoot. I'm going to say this correctly. It is our Bigfoot Adventure Story Night on November 9th and 10th. But if you go to Bigfoot Adventures, there's apparently only 20 spots available for this. We found that out this weekend. So if you want to join us for Story Night, I am going to bring s'mores for everybody and try to survive camping or glamping or whatever is going to occur there. She did mention that there was only one glamping tent, which I might have to forego to Mark and Carrie. So I might be about one of those little tree hammock things above the ground at bear level. So
we'll arm wrestle for it. That's how we'll decide it. Or cage match, maybe cage match.
Okay.
Something.
Why does either of those sound like a good idea against me, Mark?
It's true. Well, yeah, I with my epilepsy, either of those could be entertaining one way or the other.
So. Yes, it's true. We did get to meet, shout out to Rick, one of our travelers, and which was really awesome and super fun. And I believe his exact words were, "Wow, I didn't realize you were so tall in person."
Yes, Erika is a cryptid in their own right. So.
Yes, I am. And Jake wants us to have a cage match. So that's
yes, I saw that. Oh my gosh, that's fantastic. So yep.
Oh,
man.
Yes. And today is Listener Tales. So,
yes, that's one of our most popular segments. We were at the Smoky Mountain Bigfoot. That was one of the ones we got requested the most. Was when's your next Listener Tales? It's like, my goodness, we could do them all the time.
It's true. So we are going to do it today. I always feel like you set me up in these things. You know that. I always do. Oh, Shivani, one of our travelers on Patreon. Yay. So question, do you want to start? Or do you want me to begin this?
It's up to you. Like I said, I don't want to pretend like I've stacked the deck.
Oh, you somehow have done it. And I don't know how you mind tricked me exactly to do this, but I feel like you've done it. Okay. I'm going to do this differently. Beau, pop in. Who should go first? That's what I want to know. Beau will call it.
All right. So I'm going to eeny, meeny, miny, moe it.
That's very dramatic. Very dramatic.
It sounds so good on the podcast because she's not even saying you need
Mark's going first.
All right.
Okay.
Back to the clackety clack, Beau, and keep those comments coming. So, all right. So let's see. All right. I liked how this one started right off the bat when I got this in the email, which is, oh my God, you all. You'll never believe what I saw on one very cold, dry November night. Feel free to share this on your show.
Okay.
Okay. So my family and I moved into a new house upon a hill on a little back road in the very small town of Fort Gay, West Virginia. I am very familiar with that town. Fort Gay sits right across the border on the east side of Kentucky. The population of my town then was probably just a couple hundred.
Oh, I'm used to small towns.
My family and I were unpacking. We
Okay.
had not yet put the furniture in its rightful places, and everything was still in boxes. Overwhelmed with working all day, I went to bed around 11 p.m. I put my little brother on the couch and I took his bed since my bed wasn't put together yet. His room faces the front of the house. His window is around 20 to 25 feet or so off the ground. I was
Wait,
looking
25 feet off the ground?
at the second floor window. I'm thinking maybe.
Oh, okay, okay. That makes, because I was like, wait a minute, where are they in a pitch somewhere? What the heck was I couldn't get it in my brain. Okay, sorry. Continue.
so-
Continue.
Well, it sounds like he's on a hill too. So maybe,
This
you know,
I agree with Beau. This is ominous. So maybe I'm just trying to put humor in this so that I'm not as
Yeah.
terrified as I feel like I'm
and
about to.
you've been to Fort Gay, Erika, whether you
I
know it or
know.
not. That was right
Yeah.
across from where we stay in Kentucky. So
Yes, I remember.
I was looking out the window when I saw it, in quotation marks.
Ah.
It stood about 7 feet tall. I had no idea what it was, but I was frozen. I had never been that scared in all my life. All I could do was lay there and just stare at this thing. It was sitting in a tree about 50 feet or so off the ground and about 50 feet from the house across the yard. It felt like an eternity. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't even blink. It had big, red, bright, glowing eyes looking dead into my face. I finally worked up enough courage to close my eyes and put my head under the covers when all of a sudden this thing smacked the window. I went through the house screaming, "There's something outside." I was crying. My mom and dad looked at me and said, "What's wrong with you? It looks like you've seen a ghost." My face was snow white. I said, "I don't know what it was, but please, Daddy, don't go outside." I begged and I begged. He came back in and said that nothing was out there. I kept screaming, saying, "Yes, there is. Yes, there is." When I explained to them what I saw and how I felt, they said I was crazy. But to this day, I will not go outside by myself. And even in the day, someone has to watch me go to my car. I have heard some pretty crazy things going on that road, but I never expected to experience anything myself. My husband and I went to the theaters and watched Mothman Prophecies. I was really reliving it that night over again. The way they described feeling and what they saw was remarkable. My husband looked over at me and said, "Isn't that what you described to me when we first started dating?" I couldn't say a word. After that moment, I knew what I saw. I believe in all my hearts, I saw the Mothman. It's just a little weird.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
That's all right. It's just a little weird. I only live about 80 miles south of Point Pleasant, West Virginia, where all that took place 37 years ago. And it was exactly 32 years to the month of the original sighting when I saw it. Scarlet.
Wow, Scarlet. Wow. And yeah, no, I can agree that Naked Richard Gere can be a palate cleanser for anybody. And Deborah Messing, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So I enjoy both of them. Scarlet. Yikes. That's what I have to contribute to this conversation
Yeah,
at this point. Well, hopefully, maybe he was trying to keep you awake for something or watch you. I don't know.
I think maybe he was looking forward to being engaged to somebody from his new book series. So
that is true. Maybe he thought you were the one. Okay, that just makes it creepier. I'm gonna pull back from that. Made it creepier.
Okay, all right. That one's a no-go. Okay.
Yeah, no go. Moving on. Well, thank you very much, Scarlett. That's awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, man, what a way to go. Starting off with a Mothman story, a
Which
recent
makes me
encounter.
wonder, Mark, when we go to Mothman and we're in the trailer right across from Fort Gay, maybe we could see Mothman. What do you think? Beau's gonna be there. Maybe we'll see Mothman.
I'm hoping Mothman and the bench leg are hanging out playing poker or something.
Don't want that to happen. That's way too many cryptids in one consortium. I'm gonna use the word consortium for me.
I like that. Well, the only thing crossing is the Big Sandy River, so that's
well, as long as Mothman can fly and bunch leg can jump, so I'm not.
And we've had reports of Mothman sightings all over.
Nope. Okay, moving on to the next one.
All right,
Try
it's your
to be
turn,
as
Erika.
happy. Yes, here we go. Greetings, travelers. Well,
Greetings.
greetings. So sad. Oh, okay. It already started out.
All
So
right.
sadly, yesterday, I was behind a fatality on the highway.
Oh,
A guy 38 died. I
oh,
rendered aid till the police got there, which is really awesome of you. Out in the mountains, too, took forever. As I was running up to him, and as a physical medium, this was the first time out of 42 deaths that I saw a soul leave the body. He looked
ooh,
at his body, shocked look on his face. I quickly said, "Go, we got this." Instantaneously, he went backwards in the air. Bam, gone. Two of us doing compressions, but I knew he was gone. 3 minutes and we called it. Please wish him and his family peace, Rebecca. Oh, Rebecca.
oh,
Um, See, this lends itself to that conversation that we had with Justin, because we were on Cryptids of the Corn. We were on their podcast. I don't know when that's going to air, but one of the conversations was about how people can kind of get stuck, right? And that's like that moment you said go, he was able to go, but who knows what would have happened had he just sit there shocked looking down at his body. That's how you get stuck. So, Rebecca, well done. Creepy AF seeing that particular situation, but I'm glad you could be there for him in that time, because hopefully you gave him peace. An absolute shout out from the Eerie Travels family to his family. I'm so sorry for
and
their
thank
loss.
you for doing what you did with the trying your best to save him, and then letting him know it was okay to go. That's one of those things. It's preternatural. We've had people tell us that they've seen this and seen things like this. I've had my fair share of hospice nurses and first responders tell me that they've seen some odd stuff that they can't go on record about seeing, but this is similar to stories I've heard. So,
Yeah,
but wow, thank you for doing what you do. So,
absolutely.
all right. So wow, man, two right off the bat and chills. All right, so here we go.
I feel that the stage is set, so let's continue.
All right, so here we go. Yes, may he rest in peace. Yes, there you go.
Yes.
Thank you. All right, so I get that some people have their own beliefs, but don't have to be a damn rude ass.
Oh, whoa, that escalated really quickly.
Yeah, exactly. So we have a huge Bigfoot decal on the back of our van, and a family at Carowinds recently walked by it and pointed it out. The little boy with them loved it and asked if I had ever seen one. I said not personally, but my uncle had seen a juvenile squatch, and that's what got me into the subject when I was a kid. I didn't want to go into the times. I believe I've been around them. The bitch ass grandma said, well, he must have been lying then. I wanted to cuss the old hag out, but I said, well, that's your opinion. My uncle was raised Christian, hardworking, and doesn't go around making shit up. My aunt was also with him that fateful day and witnessed it as well back in 1966, Boone, North Carolina, on the mountain behind my grandparents. The whole mountain community had several encounters, heard unknown screams, found footprints, and so on and so on. So I guess all of them was a bunch of liars too. I usually don't let shit like that get under my skin, but to blatantly call my uncle a liar to my face made my blood boil. Clint.
Well, Clint,
Wow.
I will say this, unfortunately, people can have very strong opinions. And one of the things I've learned through my life is people have a very hard inability to be wrong. And so if I always say you could be so right, you're dead, people do say the dumbest things just to be right and to make themselves feel better about their opinion, which is one of the big problems with society today. So I'm not going down all that path because trust me, you can get me started. But yeah, and I'm sorry you had that encounter, but that person is non-important. And believe it or not, even though you said what you said, that little boy is going to remember that you said my uncle did. That's what he'll take away from that.
Right. And that you didn't dismiss it like the grandmother did. And that's, if he does have an encounter later, he might be more likely to report it that way. This is one of the reasons why people don't report their encounters and don't say the things they've seen, because they're terrified. and that's that they're going to get ridiculed, that family's going to disown them and things like that. And that's why we love that you send us these stories and stuff, because that's just one more way of sharing it.
Travels family here that does believe you.
You are welcome here, all of you. So
yes. So
all right, yeah, and that was you're right, Beau. That was the most I've sworn in a long time, but that's because I'm reading somebody else's story. So,
oh, Mark, only one of us can have the sailor's mouth in this relationship of Eerie Travels, and that's going to be me, and then Beau. Beau second to me, very close second.
Oh yeah, you two together.
Yes, can't wait for Spock. Okay, moving on. Here we go. I don't believe in Mandela effects. I'm just listening to the podcast because I'm interested in the paranormal, but I've had a very odd experience. I love this already. So it's interesting and not bad, and I'm not calling this person out, but it's always interesting for me to hear that I don't believe in this, but I believe in this. But right. I understand with the Mandela effect, but here we go. Sorry, that wasn't all in the listener tale. I added it. Okay. I was waiting at a bus stop and saw the bus coming. I stood up, but when I stood up, the bus had gone. I figured I just imagined it. A man at the bus stop turned and asked me if I had seen the bus coming too. I'm sure there was a logical explanation, but I can't figure out what happened, and neither could he. Like it just vanished. Ash, my dear. I'm not sure if Ash is male or female because it could be either, and I love it. Ash, welcome to the Mandela effect.
I like to think it's Ash Williams, and that this is actually Bruce Campbell writing us.
Okay, it is not Bruce Campbell. And how did you do that? We are not even 20 minutes into this show. Okay, Ash, thank you. Welcome to what the Mandela effect is, because we don't know what it is.
Yeah, this is again glitch in the Matrix or something. I mean, we have precedents for a phantom bus that was down in the Skyway Bridge disaster and in St. Petersburg, Florida. Maybe you're just seeing a replay of some sort, a stone tape. I don't know, but yeah, it could just be that it turned off and like a different bus on the route and it went a different direction, like something just going to the garage or something, and it was there a second, gone the next. That can happen too, but welcome to the world of the preternatural stuff we don't understand.
That, and I just got the heebie-jeebies. So I think it was on a route, but not in this dimension. So it was in the wrong place at the wrong time.
They don't all have to be long, giant stories, people. Send us what you got. We love that. That's fantastic. Yeah. So thanks again, Ad, or Mr. Campbell. All right. So I will say this, though, about bus stops. Have you ever been like driving along the road late at night and you go past a bus stop and you see some of the strangest, craziest group of people standing waiting for that bus, and you gotta wonder, where the hell are they going at midnight? Why are this weird conglomeration of strange misfits going? And then you kind of want to go, I kind of want to get on that bus.
I always want to get on that bus. I don't know. I feel like a lot of the times I am those strange misfits. Done and done. And subways. I'll do any public transport. Okay, Mark.
Another fun short ones. I saw you all were just in Cade's Cove. Yes, we were there researching the new book. We were taking some pictures, and we were there today, and oh my God, I just seen Bigfoot. I'm shaking. Please keep your doors locked and keep an eye on your kids when going there. This thing was massive. I would say 8 feet tall. Definitely wasn't a bear. It was in an open field, and other tourists seen it as well. Had to tell you all, anonymous.
So. Wow. So that is one thing that is super fun to find out, is that when you're up this way, there are a ton of Bigfoot sightings, an absolute ton of Bigfoot. Hence the reason we're going to do this squatching event, because we're going to learn how to do Bigfoot hunts. And by we're going to learn is Erika will be waiting at camp with s'mores while you all learn how to do Bigfoot stuff. And probably while you're all out doing that, Bigfoot's going to come sit across from me and want a s'more. So I feel like that is how this is going to unfold for all of us.
Are you going to bring moonshine, Erika, and gems so that you can get the boojum to come?
Well, first of all, he's going to bring me moonshine.
Well, that's right.
But I might be the one he's bringing gems to woo. That's okay. I'll bring moonshine, gems, and my beautiful self. So any of those possibilities.
All right.
And I think if I explained to Jonathan that one of my list of 5 is food job, he would actually I don't even know what he would think. Let's move on.
3-5. 3-5. Okay, but yeah, your hall pass.
Yeah.
But I will say the Cades Cove though is an amazing place. We're writing about it in a new book, and that's why we were there. And there are tons of random stuff. There are a lot of bears in that area, and that's one of the reasons people go. It's actually this one little single lane road that goes around this whole valley. You can go hiking along it and stuff like that, but they get traffic jams. They call them bear jams because everybody has to stop because mama bear will cross and you got to wait till the babies cross the road. And sometimes they don't cross immediately. So you might be there half hour while they're waiting for the babies to cross as the rangers stop all the traffic. So just be ready for that, but keep your eyes open. There's other things there too.
True. Okay, next. Oh, this is a long one.
Okay.
Ooh, I already feel like I'm not going to like it. Okay, here we go. I've never shared this story until recently because it's unbelievable. Wow. I was up way north at camp at an undisclosed location, and we were doing some orienting in the woods. Me being a former Boy Scout and knowing how to put red in the shed meant that I would be the first one to finish. I feel like I'm missing something there. What does that mean?
I was distracted because somebody said they read my book in the chat.
Oh my gosh. Can your ego not get in the way of this podcast for once?
If there's anything more important than my ego, I want it caught and shot now. Thank you, Zayfod Bieber.
Oh my goodness.
But, no, all right. So we were doing some orienteering in the woods. Former Boy Scout had to put red in the shed. Meant basically if you were the last person to get your camp set up, you get the crap duties. So
I got it. Okay. Sorry, not a Boy Scout. Didn't know that one, as you can all tell by my previous comments. Nature and me, distance. Okay, here we go. Once I reached the last waypoint, I heard someone in front of me. It sounded like one of my other classmates that were in my group, so I pursued him. The forest is dense, old growth forest. I already don't like this. Okay. After chasing him with pure joy, thinking he's playing around, I abruptly came to a stop at a small clearing. With my mouth open wide, I met the eyes of something that also had its mouth agape in pure bewilderment. It was covered from head to toe in light brown hair, except for his face, ears, hands, and feet. I was staring into the biggest brown eyes I'd ever seen. We startled each other. He was over 7 feet. As our eyes stared back into each other's, he looked over his shoulder and made a small primal cry out from the woods. Of an outcrop behind him appeared to be 2 of the same creatures. Ooh, now you're outnumbered. As soon as the 2 saw me, they instantly retreated to the tree line. I instantly got down on my knees, closed my eyes, and folded my hands, and told this being in front of me that I meant it no harm, and that it was an honor to be in the presence of something that had been around for thousands of years, longer than the natives. As I opened my eyes and got up, I was shocked to see it hadn't run away and was still looking at me, except now with a warm expression on its face. In awe, I stuck my hand out and promised him I wouldn't reveal his location. He looked at my hand curiously and grabbed it. His hand was so huge that his fingers extended to my forearm. His nails looked like humans who'd never cut them. I started slowly shaking his arm, and he got nervous and suddenly gripped my arm with his other hand. His strength was immense. As he saw the pain on my face and how soft I was gripping his arm, he loosened his grip completely and just stared at me. Seeing intelligence shine his eyes, I proceeded to introduce myself caveman style. I beat my chest twice as I said, "Brady," and was floored to hear the creature repeat after me. I beat my chest again and then pointed to the creature. He got excited, mimicked me by beating his chest, "Tareed," in the deepest voice imaginable. Then I repeated his words back to him, and a shocked smile filled his face. He started grunting like a silverback gorilla to the tree line, and out came the 2 creatures. He beat his chest and pointed at me and repeated his name, and the other 2 creatures squealed in amusement. I know this sounds like I have a wild imagination, but time seemed to stand still while I was in his presence. Eventually, I finally heard my friends in the group coming up around the ridge, so I looked back at my new friend and gave him a hug goodbye. His light brown hair actually smelled sweet on My head only went to his chest, and I was surprised he actually embraced and hugged me back. I started patting his back, so he did the same. Finally, I let go and waved. As I watched him stand there, he turned around and began walking up the bluff behind his family. He then turned back and waved at me. I promised to never tell his location. Once in a lifetime experience. If I'm lying, I'm dying. Had to get off my chest. Brenda.
Wow.
Brenda is a female, but this was a Boy Scout thing? Question mark.
I'm not sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So
I think it
interesting.
might have been Brady.
Yeah. Well, maybe
Yeah.
they transitioned.
Yeah, maybe.
Wild story though. Wild.
Now we have heard stories about them talking, stories about them doing unusual things like that. In fact, working on the new book, we talk about where they used to trade with the Cherokee, and they would sometimes talk to certain Cherokee, and they would do that. And we've had some other listener stories, and we've even had some recent guests who have said that they speak some sort of language and can be heard. So again, stuff we don't know, gang. Stuff we don't know. I will dig into this.
Very true. I think though that we are technically at the point that for a normal podcast we need to take a break. And since I mess this up every single time, Beau said you don't have to play the music, but are you obsessed with playing the music?
No, I'm good.
Okay, because you were kind of obsessed with playing the music, but
I like pushing buttons, but no, I'm good. So
okay, so pretend like you're pushing buttons, Mark, and here's our break.
Destiny Beard, the lyrical soprano who will haunt your dreams. With her alluring melodies and intricate harmonies, this dark siren of wistful song shall capture your soul and lead you into the night. Check out Destiny's new single, The Haunting Is Over, with international musicians Sam Haines and Gary Bennett, as well as her other musical works at destinybeard.com.
most know Florida as the land of endless sunny beaches, but the state is home to numerous eerie legends and mysterious creatures. The Everglades is home to the elusive skunk ape. In Key West lies an uncanny doll reputed to have a life of its own. Join Mark Muncy and illustrator Carrie Schultz as they uncover the history behind the state's creepiest stories and unusual locations. The Dark Side of the Sunshine State, presented in Eerie, Florida, from History Press.
And we're done. Okay, good. Continue. Did you see how I did that? Magic. So,
Magic. Magic.
magic.
All right. My turn, I think, right? Are we there?
Yeah, no, it's your
Okay,
turn.
okay.
It's your turn.
I lost track a little bit. All right. So I believe there are time slips, portals, holes that open in the fabric of time that allow for people to slip through time. Example. Maybe you were driving home and it takes about 45 minutes, yet you got there in 15 minutes. Or maybe you were walking along and all of a sudden you're like, where the hell am I? You shake your head and you are back where you were. I believe these are all around us, small openings for short periods of time. What causes this to happen? Weather, solar flares, magnetic field overlap. I don't know. Does anybody have a spell to reveal what you were looking for? Or any kind of time travel spells? Also open to other ideas or suggestions, links, books. Any traveler witches able to help? Should I ask this as a question? Please try to be open-minded. Some of your tales seem to document things like this. I once drove to an event that was hours away and seemingly got there in no time. Then it seemed to take forever to get home. Jenny.
Well, Jenny,
Well,
I am going to say this. I don't know about spells to jump in time, but I am just going to throw out my overall theory as somebody who does some minor spell casting. I would be careful of a spell that promises time travel. You know, whatever this phenomenon is, the dimension slipping, things like that, it is something weird that we say it's preternatural. We don't know what it is, but I think there's some divining things you can do, and I would look for and we can shout out to travelers. Please send us if you have links and stuff. But when you're trying to control something as big as time, I don't think that's like a junior level little spell. I think you got to be careful. It's kind of like trying to make somebody fall in love with you or in love with somebody else. You're pushing against a lot of existence to do something like that. So I would be wary of it. Mark, your thoughts?
Again, I just think again, glitches in the Matrix type thing. You're talking about that where suddenly you're there and you thought you weren't. And we've had those other stories where people have been to a town that they know they're like the back of their hand. Suddenly it's a completely different town. This is part of string theory. This is part of quantum mechanics. We're just starting to learn this stuff. I think Preternatural covers it. Stuff we don't understand yet. That's all. That's all.
That's our thoughts. But travelers, if there's any links you want to send us, we will share them. Absolutely. We very much like going and visiting places and stuff. We're going to give our little warnings about maybe what you should or shouldn't do in that circumstance. So, okay. Thank you, Jenny.
Thank you.
Next. I've read several stories of other people saying that they've talked to Bigfoot and they talk back. Well, there's irony.
Hey, look at that.
Yeah. Okay.
I think this was right after we had the Tim Dills episode that we got a few of these. So.
That makes sense. So shout out to Tim. Okay. You had a guest on that said he heard them. One girl I know told an amazing story about how a family of Bigfoot that lived very close to her grandfather's farm. Her grandfather would leave food out for the animals during the hardest times of winter. She said he had done that all of her life. In the summer, he grew watermelon and he would take several to a certain spot. She wasn't allowed to go with him when she was little. He just told her he was leaving them for any animals that may want them. Anyway, her grandfather passed and he was buried on his property. She was there one last time before starting college or moving states or some big life event. She went to his grave and then she rounded the corner. She said a family of Bigfoot were all there and had brought a watermelon to his grave. Oh. Yeah. She left and didn't interrupt them. The next day, she was walking the path through the wooded part of his land to his grave, and she said they were all there waiting for her. She said the obvious oldest male, the grandfather of their family, spoke to her in English. He told her his name, Nanook, I think it was. He thanked her for caring about the earth and all the animals just as her grandfather did. He also told her there's another type of Bigfoot that has red eyes, that if she ever encountered a red-eyed Bigfoot to get away from them and not try to interact with them. The red-eyed Bigfoot don't like humans. They will harm and kill any humans if the chance arises. She clarified that Nanook and his family had brown eyes, some darker brown than others, with the lightest brown being the dark honey color. I've always believed her story, and every time I see the video read a story about the Bigfoot with red eyes, her story immediately comes to mind. And I've noticed that red-eyed Bigfoot either stay far from humans or are aggressive from the moment they encounter. Lots of stories I've read or watched talk about the brown-eyed Bigfoot being basically hair humans. They're intelligent and can speak the language that they live around. The red-eyed ones probably can too, but most of the stories just describe them as yelling or grunting or calling more. But anyway, I believe it's totally possible. Right place, right time. Linda. Well, Linda.
Wow.
I don't think that's necessarily, I think that could be correct, right? Is that
yeah, we're talking a little bit of fairy legend there. We're talking a bit of folklore. I've done so much research on this recently that this is like ripping a page out of our new book, because we talk a lot about the Cherokee trading with them and talking with them, and the red-eyed ones, yeah, that's definitely a trend we've heard. The red-eyed ones seem to be more even like Dogman.
Well, and we talk a little bit about the red-eye shine generally is from predatory animals. Like generally, I think, I'd love to, we can ask Justin at Cryptids of the Corn.
There's a lot of biology there. So red-eye shine.
There is, but I think it's interesting because you just kind of makes you wonder. But Linda, thank you so much for sharing this story. I think it's wonderful, right?
Yeah, I'm excited. And Nanook is a term I know. Nanook of the North was a TV show in the 60s that it was on a radio show, I think, before that, and a pulp before that. So interesting name. So we're gonna have to do like a list of Bigfoot names now. We got Tareed and Nanook. All right, so my turn, I guess, right? Yeah. Hello, friends. Hello. New to this podcast, and I realized today I have a story to share. Well, good.
Awesome. Welcome.
My son's favorite movie has been Cars since it came out in 2006. I have watched this movie hundreds of times. He will be 25 in December, and he wants to do a Cars-themed birthday for fun because typically a classic car is a 25-year-old car. Oh, I get that. That's good.
Ooh, very logical.
We're going to have so much fun with it. But here's the thing. As we were discussing it last week, we were thinking of cocktails to go with each character. And I said something about Flo and it being Wanda Sykes for the voice. And he said, no, Mom, Flo is not Wanda Sykes. And I said, yeah, you're wrong. And he said, no, Mom, you're wrong. And we went back and forth. I said, BS, I've seen her name in the credits, on screen, other places, and even interviews with her. She voices Flo. He said, Mom, Google it. I said, fine, knowing I was right. I Googled it, and it said it's some actress I have never even heard of. Jennifer Lewis is the voice of Flo. What? No way. 1,000,000%. I know it's always been Wanda Sykes. What Mandela trickery is this, Jay?
Jay, let me just start you down the path of me talking about risky business and Mark talking about Moonraker. I believe in the dimension you should be in. It's Wanda Sykes. I will back that 100%.
I never watched Cars. That was one after my kids were a little bit older, so I don't.
I've watched it once, but I'm going to back up the fact that I am telling you, in some other dimension, Wanda Sykes is the voice of Flo, and Beau apparently will fight you. So that goes both directions. I love it. I'm with you, Jay, completely. So
there you go.
Yeah.
It's your turn.
It is my turn because you just talked about Flo. Here we go. My stepson's childhood friend is heading to the Olympics. Oh, congratulations. He lives 2 houses down from us, and tonight the town had a send-off parade as he leaves for Paris. As my husband and I were walking down to wish him luck before the parade, I realized I have my favorite protection crystal in my pocket. I was overwhelmingly compelled to give it to him. As he shook my hand and I turned his over and placed them in his, I felt immense energy exchange and said, these are for you for protection. Something tells me he's bringing home the medal. Lynn. Oh, Lynn, you got to write us back and tell us if that's true. I love that. Oh, I just got nice, warm, flowy feelies. I love that. I love that.
If nothing else, you've protected him. So it's all about intention. So
yeah.
Intention. You get out of it what you put into it.
And I love it. But tell us if he wins and who it is.
Yeah, please do. If you could email us and let us know what event he's in or what, maybe we can get it out in a breaking news segment. Yeah, because I want to watch. Right, Siobhan?
Traveler by proxy. Woo! We'll support.
Yeah. So, we want to watch. We all want to watch. We will vote with our hearts. So, all right. Okay, well, this one's to me anyway, so this is good.
Oh, geez.
Thanks, Lynn, for that, though. Thank you.
Thank you, Lynn.
All right, so, hey, Mark. Hey, I'm currently planning on hiking the AT, or Appalachian Trail. Years ago, I picked up Freaky Florida on a whim and got fascinated by the story of Trapper Nelson. I later got into vintage hiking and camping. My vintage kit is based around a target year of 1937, mostly to match my car, and can be all carried in one loadout with a large Trapper Nelson pack board. Well, that's very, very cool. Yeah. The full setup weighs about 48 pounds without water, and I'm good for a mile or two with it. For me, it's more about the experience than the distance. I agree with you 100%, especially if you're doing vintage stuff like that. Yeah. My kit selection was put together using the writings of Horace Kephart, Colonel Townsend Welland, and Stuart White for guidance. So I'm not familiar with those, but I will Google that after we're done and see what that is. Let's see. Anyway, I recently joined a couple of AT groups online, and one of the guides mentioned Eerie, Appalachia by you. I've picked it up and plan on trying portions of the trail. Are there any stories or legendary figures that fit my year of 1937? From that guy that posted about the Appalachian book, I found your podcast and have been enjoying it. Hope to take you on the trail. So far, no ghosts or monsters on my excursions, but I am hopeful. I sent you some pics of my gear and pages from Trapper Nelson's guidebook. Hopefully you can do an episode about him for your listeners. Dave.
Oh, Dave. First of all, thank you for stroking Mark's ego.
Yes.
We'll have to share those pictures, Mark.
Yeah, I've got them. He sent them to me. Trapper Nelson is such a fun figure from Florida history. He was the Tarzan of the Luxahatchee, and we will have to do an episode on him down in, just off of Jupiter's Inlet. Fort Dickinson State Park has Trapper Nelson's place, and it's pretty epic. He's a pretty larger-than-life guy, and I think that's awesome that you're hiking the trail as Trapper. I'm sure he'd be proud. So
very cool. Well, Beau, clackety clack that on the future episodes list, my dear. But yes, and the books are absolutely fun. I tease Mark a lot, but I highly recommend them. And Mark, you don't need to say anything because I just highly recommended them. Okay.
Yep.
So
I'm out. So go ahead.
Next.
Thanks, Dave.
Yes. Thank you, Dave. And thanks for listening. And by the way, Dave, I'm just going to throw this out here. I hope you have some fun experiences, but no monsters, because that sounds terrible. So let's pass on the monsters.
I can send you some stories. I'll reach out.
Okay, here we go. Okay, I just had an interesting lucid dream 2 to 3 days ago. I was on a mission and suddenly I had this leech in my hand. I had to deliver it to a scientist, a woman. I put the leech in the pocket and I was on my way. I noticed this gigantic brick-like UFO in the night sky, metallic black. I felt like it was surveying, and the reflection of the moon made everything obvious, even the UFO. While I was climbing the hill to reach the scientist, she called me. Where are you, and where is the plasmatron? Yes. Where are you, and where is the plasmatron? I'm almost here, climbing up the hill, I replied. Hurry up, the scientist said. And there she was on the top of the hill on a black navy blue colored suit, reddish brown hair. For a moment, I felt like the plasmatron was hurting me psychically, but I was too weak. I brought it out of the pocket and its tentacles were darker, like it was dying. That same moment, the UFO spotted me and made a blasting mechanical noise, and its giant side pods started dislodging. Gas and green light was spotted on each of the sides. I felt terror and everything went black. I have had a tremendous back pain since that day, like a marrow is disjointed from me. I thought I might share this with your travelers. Tio? Ah, no, I don't love any of this. I am, if Adam was on here, he would probably recommend getting an X.
Yeah.
Of your back.
I was about to say that's my immediate thought is get yourself checked, but man, that has a little bit of John dies at the end in it. That has a little bit of a few other things that I've read. That's definitely lucid dreaming is interesting. And you can have some unusual experiences with that. So you're definitely tying into something there. Wow. That one got me.
I
have a thing with squishy things in my hand.
Ever since Adam Hutton's episode, if I have something like that happen, I am going to get an X-ray. I'm going to go get a sonogram. I'm going to go look for little heebie-jeebies, because when somebody describes these things, which he describes on the show, and it did show up in his X-rays, and he has proof, and he's not the only one. So nope.
Traveler tip: get a small injury in the area where it happened, and then go, I got to go to the doctor and get it checked.
Terrifying. Okay.
Workman's comp. No, I didn't say that. All right. Oh man. All right. March 12th, 1975. I like how that starts, like right off the date. My
Yeah.
daughter was born, and my employer gave me the week off. Yeah, that sounds about right for 75. Uh, I guess it was girl time because my mom and mother-in-law kicked me out of the house. I grabbed my 3030 and Ford pickup and decided to go exploring for new hunting grounds. I was east of Unumclaw, Washington, checking out the country off some of the logging roads deep in the forest land. I saw lots of deer, and as night came on, I headed back home. In a remote spot with no sign of anyone else around, when at the limit of my headlights, I saw a man-like creature walking on two legs cross the road in front of me. I stopped and looked to see if there was anyone around. No sign of other people. If it was a man, he was the largest one I ever saw, and I have an acquaintance that stands 6'9", about 300 pounds. What I saw reminded me of him, only larger. Hence, I believe Wyatt.
Yeah, that's the
Thank
red
you for
hair
sharing,
shadow.
Wyatt. I did put that in the BFRO database and a couple others.
Yes.
You reported it, and you gave me the date. You gave me a location. That's all we really need. So.
No, I appreciate it. And that sounds like you had a good encounter there, Wyatt. Very
Yep.
non-threatening encounter.
At the edge of the headlights. That's perfect.
Yes, yes. Okay, here we go. Look, this one's to both of us, Mark.
What? All right.
Hey, Mark and Erika. Well,
Hey.
hello. Okay. I've been following you for a while. Well, that's creepy.
That's, well, you know.
Just kidding. Just kidding.
Hi, X. No, wait. Sorry.
Okay. I've been following you for a while. Old fan of Mark from Hellview Cemetery days. I also picked up Erika's books at a recent event, enjoying their dark endings quite a bit. Yes, travelers, if you do pick up my stories, they don't have happy endings, so just be aware of that. Mark may not remember this, but I had a very dark experience at his haunted house, so I figured I'd refresh and send this to you all as a listener tale. I just got creeped out because I know some of the stuff that happened at this haunted house. So, okay, I'm going to set the stage, Mark. Are you ready?
I am ready. Let's. I'm sitting back and enjoying this tale. So yes.
Okay, here we go. It was Halloween. Well, if you're not going to enjoy it, if you keep talking. It was Halloween 2003, and we were eager to see our favorite haunted display on the street in St. Petersburg. It had grown so big, there was a huge church-like structure where we had seen a pirate ship the year before. There was a line. We had no idea it was now a full haunted house inside. After a short wait, a top-hatted skeleton at the door greeted us in a funny fashion and invited us to Hellview Cemetery. We saw a coffin and walked into a cave lit by torches. I'll never forget the first impression of suddenly going, this is not some cheesy backyard haunted house like the three others we'd already been to. It was epic. I recall weird echoes of voices chanting in the tunnel and the crypts along the walls. I remember being scared a few times by actors in the tunnel. I swear it had stone walls, and I remember thinking to ask how to build that. Then suddenly there was a bridge over a pit. How in Florida was there a pit? I don't remember a lot of the haunt except for suddenly feeling the air again and seeing a fiery building that the path took us back into. It had to be early digital effects, but it stuck with me. There were vampire girls and soldiers. I remember an old man at a bar offering us a bloody drink, then a jail, I think. It was here things got really scary. Okay. So before I do this next part, do you remember this particular haunt you created, Mark?
Oh yeah, that would have been one of the first years we did the full walkthrough, and we built a crypt. The rocks were styrofoam, and it was built out of old coolers. We got tons of old styrofoam coolers donated to us, and we cut them into individual stones and glued them to balsa wood boards, and we made a crypt. And yeah, that was the first time we did the full walkthrough. The pit was actually a mirror effect. We built up a floor and put a mirror on the ground. So when you're walking across this rickety bridge, you're just looking down at this mirror. It's actually reflecting the ceiling above you. So it looked like a 20-foot drop. It's an amazing effect. I think that was a Leonard Pickle idea, and we used it. We stole everything for that haunted house. So yeah, and then the fire was the Madame Horror. It was the Bordello with the Rough Riders. So yeah,
Oh,
this is
very
bringing me
cool.
back. And the bar was Los Oros Tavern, and now I'm curious where they're at because they're nearing. They should be, if I'm following the path in my head. I'm trying to remember. God, that was 20 years
No,
ago.
that's fine. It's 21 years ago. Okay. Well, things are about to get really scary. So here we go. I saw this strange flash of multicolored lights and a demonic creature leapt out of the shadows at me. I got very dizzy. My friends started screaming and grabbing me to pull me along. I don't remember the rest of the haunt, but I know it must have been huge because I remember running for a long time in a dizzy state. When I got to the street, my friends were all laughing and applauding such a great haunted house. I remember the demonic face for days and had numerous nightmares about it. I kept asking everyone else about it, but nobody remembered it. They all remembered the bar and a creepy little girl, but nobody remembered the demon. I still get chills thinking about it. I'm getting chills talking about it. We would go every year after that, and I never saw it. I have an excellent memory and recall bits from every year, but I never saw the demon again. I also never saw the pit again. I would still get nightmares after visiting about that damn face. I finally met Mark at Tampa Bay Comic-Con and bought the Hellview book after it had closed down. He mentioned to me the city forced him to close. I asked him if this was because of the demon. He seemed shocked and smiled and said it was enforcement codes, but how did I know about the demon? We talked a bit and I lost track of you all. Imagine my surprise when I stumbled to your podcast last year. Now I'm all caught up and I think my demon was your fear monger. Okay, that's the only explanation as why I saw it. No one else did. I've been afraid of demons taking me away, probably my Catholic school years. Thought you would appreciate the story, Mary. Oh my gosh, Mary. First of all, you just took Mark down memory lane. And second of all,
washing away the nostalgia here. This is crazy.
Yeah, but that fearmonger was legit. You are not the only one who experienced things from that fearmonger. There's so many people that I've encountered since I started doing this podcast with Mark. Now I feel like I've gone to the dark side, but no, I was already there. We have cookies. But there's so many people, Mark, that talk about encountering this thing.
Yeah, and we never had a demon. That was one of the rules of Hellview. We never had a demon. We had some dark things. The only thing I could think of in that area was that we had a room that was just after the jail. We did a living shadow effect, which is basically you make it completely dark and then you put somebody in there in a black morph suit, and then you paint eyeballs on their hands, so like in glow in the dark paint, so they can blink at you, and then they can be really tall, or they can move the eyes down, or they can even do that and spread their hands apart, and it freaks people out. It's a great effect. It's a really good thing, but that's the only thing I can think of. But well, I do think I remember talking to you about the demon because we did have that fearmonger in the back. So yeah. Interesting stuff.
And it's true. I mean,
R.I.P. Hellview. R.I.P.
Yeah, I will say this. That's one thing about fearmongers is they tend to be very specific to the person encountering them, where they're going to get the most energy. Well, okay, that's nice and creepy. Now that we did memory lane, Mark, over to you.
Okay, so greetings, travelers.
Greetings.
I'm writing this story for a project at school based on something I saw at Lake Norman. I listened to you all, and I'm not sure you are all familiar with Normie. So here is my story. Yes, I do know Normie. They don't believe me, of course. They think I'm seeing things, or worse, making it up for attention. But I swear to you, what I saw that night was real. It was a still night, the kind where the water looks like glass. I was fishing, a solitary figure under the vast expanse of stars. Suddenly the water rippled, not like a fish, but more like a disturbance. It was dark, but I could make out a shape emerging, a shape that shouldn't be. It was massive, larger than any boat I'd ever seen. It had an elongated, almost serpentine body with a head that resembled a crocodile's, but with eyes that glowed an eerie blue. And then it roared, a sound that shook the very core of me, a guttural, primal scream that echoed across the lake. I froze, my heart pounding in my chest. Fear gripped me like an icy hand. It moved with unnatural speed, breaching the surface, its body glistening in the moonlight. It was like something out of a nightmare, a creature from the depths of time. Then I saw the ranger's flashlight beam cutting through the darkness. He must have heard the commotion. The creature seemed to sense him, its head turning in his direction. With a speed that defied belief, it lunged, disappearing beneath the waves. A moment later, the ranger's scream echoed across the water, followed by a terrified yelp. I couldn't see what happened, but the next moment, the ranger was scrambling back to shore, his face pale, his eyes wide with terror. He didn't stop to look back. He just ran. And then there was the bear. It came down to the water's edge, drawn by the same disturbance that had awakened me. A magnificent creature, but no match for what lurked below. As it stood there sniffing the air, the water erupted once more. The monster, its form distorted by the moonlight, launched itself at the bear. There was a thrashing, a sound like thunder, and then silence. When the water calmed, there was no sign of either the bear or the creature, just ripples spreading outward like a ghost story etched on the surface of the lake. Oh, I like that. That was very well written. I've never been back to that spot since. Some nights when the wind is right, I think I can hear it calling, a low, mournful sound from the depths. And I know deep down that it's out there waiting, a spectral guardian of the lake's darkest secrets. When I reported all this at the ranger station, the lady on duty told me I must have imagined it all. Normie was just a legend and no park rangers were missing. One of the other rangers started to say something, but got quickly shushed by the person at the counter. What else are they hiding? Harry.
Yeah. Nope.
Well
don't like any
written,
of that.
Harry. I hope you get an A on that. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Any type of bear. Lake Norman is a huge lake, and Normie is their sea monster. And he, unlike Alti or Pinky or some of the other sea monsters that we've discussed, this one seems to be a meat eater and has been known to grab stuff off of land. So he famously grabbed a dog and brought it in, and that's the one they based the X-Files episode on.
Well, and one thing I'm going to say is, anyone watched Lake Placid?
Oh, yeah.
Ooh,
There you go.
bears. Okay. I
I'll
love
be
that.
our recommended watching after this. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we're in an hour. Let me do one more, and then let's wrap it up for today. Okay, Mark?
Well, we've got there's three more, and the last two are actually two sides of the same story, and they're not very big. So I think let's do these three, and we'll be done.
Fine. Okay.
A little over an hour, gang. So enjoy for the bonus stories.
Here, yes. Okay. Behind the scenes, Beau's head's exploding. It's fine. We're moving on. Okay. It says it was a dark night around 3. I don't like, there's a theme so far with these stories. So, okay. It was a dark night around 3 a.m. on Friday night. I was driving home from work in Destin in the Florida Panhandle. I was on my way home from a late shift. The road closed in around me through the endless expanse of surrounding swamps. Suddenly, my car sputtered and died. Just like that, the world went quiet. No crickets, no owls, just the eerie silence that creeps into your bones in the dead of night. I tried to restart the engine, but it was dead. I was alone, miles from the nearest town, and nothing but inky blackness of the swamp for company. As I stepped out of the car, I don't get out of the car. Okay. As I stepped out of the car, the air was thick with an odd metallic scent. Then I saw it, a strange pulsating light hovering over the tree line. It was silent, otherworldly. I just stood there, paralyzed by fear and fascination as it seemed to grow larger. The light was blinding, and the next thing I knew, I was on the ground, disoriented and confused. When I came to, my car was running as if nothing had happened. But something was different. I felt off. There was a strange sense of detachment, as if I was watching myself from outside my body. I glanced at my watch, and an hour and a half had vanished. I drove home, my mind racing. What had happened out there? Was it a dream, a hallucination? The more I thought about it, the more convinced I became that it was something else entirely, something unexplainable. Days turned into weeks, but the memory of that night never faded. The metallic taste lingered on my tongue, and the image of the hovering light haunted my dreams. I've avoided that stretch of road ever since. Some things are better left unexplained. I heard Adam's story on your show and I had to share my own. I've been strangely sick a few times after this, but I haven't gotten the courage to go to the hospital just yet. I'm afraid of what I might find. Tell the travelers these stories are real, Mike. Oh, Mike, go to the hospital.
Urgent care, yeah.
Yeah, I cannot stress this enough. Like just see, like go see what it
Destin
is.
a wild area. It's a big fancy beach town, but if you go just a little north, it's nothing but swamp and nothing but Badlands area. But that's also Eglin Air Force Base area. Pensacola Naval Base isn't far from there, so we've got a lot of UFO sightings. Gulf Breeze is right around the corner from that, so this is UFO hotspot. Sounds like this is classic abduction stuff. So
no, totally. And yeah, no, that's exactly what it is. Go get it looked at. Adam will tell you to go get it looked at. Reach out to him because it won't hurt to go get it looked at all. You're not feeling good. Stomach, let him do a CT scan. Ooh, yeah. Okay, so Mark, these two go together. How do you want to do this? Do you want to do
That's
the first
question? Do you want to read the first one? I'll read the second one, or
up to you.
Or you want me to read the first one and you read the second? However you want to do it.
Okay. Well, it is your turn, so why don't? And it starts with "Hi, Mark." So
hi, Mark. Yeah, both these were. So hi, Mark. Hi. We met when you signed at the library here in Virginia. You asked me to write into you about my Dogman encounter, and I finally got around to doing it. So here you go. It was a crisp October morning when we headed into the Blue Ridge Mountains in Southwest Virginia. My buddy Tom and I are seasoned hunters, but the thrill of the chase was still as potent as ever. The woods were thick and the air was filled with the crunch of leaves and the distant call of a crow. We'd been tracking a particularly elusive buck for days. As the sun began its descent, casting long, eerie shadows through the trees, we decided to set up camp. I forgot this guy was a writer. A crackling fire warmed our shivering bodies as we shared stories and laughter. But as the night deepened, a strange unease settled over us. The woods seemed to come alive with an unsettling chorus of unfamiliar sounds. It was then we saw it. A pair of glowing eyes pierced the darkness, their intensity almost blinding. A massive humanoid figure emerged from the shadows. It was bipedal, but its features were more canine than human. Towering over us, it emitted a low, guttural growl that sent shivers down our spines. Panic set in as we scrambled for our rifles. But before we could fire a shot, it was gone. Just as quickly as it had appeared, it vanished into the night. We spent the rest of the night wide awake, our hearts pounding in our chests. The next morning, we packed our gear and left the woods. To this day, we've never spoken about what we saw that night. Some say it was a hallucination or a trick of the light, but we know what we saw, and the memories of those glowing eyes still haunts us. I'm going to see if I can get Jake to tell you what he all saw. Jim.
Oh, yeah. So I'm just going to say, I'm going to read the other half. So let me read the other half and then let's comment. Okay.
Yeah.
Hi, Mark. I got Tom to tell us his story. So here's the audio transcript. I think I actually got most of his words right. We was deep in the Blue Ridge near the old abandoned copper mine, been tracking a big old buck for days. Come nightfall, we made camp. Cold seeped into my bones and the woods was alive with creaks and snaps. And then suddenly everything went quiet. Okay, I'm just going to pause. I hate it when everything goes quiet. As much as its noises can be scary, everything going quiet scares the crap out of me 10 times more.
That means something's going down. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Then I saw
battle veteran. That's right when everything gets quiet is right. Then you know it's about to hit the fan.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. Then I saw them, two big yellow eyes shining like coals in the dark. The shape moved out of the trees, tall as a grown bear, but different. Lean, long arms and legs, hair or fur black as midnight, matted and wet looking. Its face was like something out of a nightmare. Big pointed ears, long snout, and eyes that bore through you. The smell hit me then, like rotten meat and wet dog mixed together. Strongest thing I've ever smelled. It let out a growl, deep and low, and it shook the ground. Jim and me, we was frozen. Before we could raise our rifles, it was gone, just vanished into the trees. We didn't sleep that much that night, keeping watching guns ready. Next morning, we packed up and got out of there. Ain't never seen nothing like it before or since. Some folks say it's just stories, but I know what I seen that night. Now you've got his side as well. We've been out there a few nights since, but never heard or saw it again. Jim. Ugh. So, I'm just gonna count both these guys really lucky, because that could have ended very badly.
Again, I think it sounds like this thing was just, you're in my territory, get out. It didn't attack. It didn't make aggressive moves.
And you only saw one of them.
One of them. There's
As
probably
they
more.
hunted packs.
Probably more nearby. Yep. That's this was the alpha telling you get out, right?
Yeah. And we believe you 100%. The Wolfman's not Wolfman. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, Wolfman, Dogman. It could be either or.
But those sightings are real, and that is the smell that everybody says that they encounter when they smell these things, that it smells like something died, which we know that a lot of canine type things will roll in carcass.
Dead thing. Yeah, to mask their scent,
yes.
It just smells like death nearby. Yeah, that could be our hyena friends that Cryptids of the Corn talked about. So yeah, I think that's bigger than any hyena I've ever heard of, but it's still, again, we're learning that hyenas not in packs tend to grow bigger and more aggressive. So
that's true. And Beau just threw in that where Erika and Mark are scared by Dogman, she's like, I don't know, he sounds kind of hot. Beau, werewolves, I'm telling you. Like, I do not wish that upon us when we're on our
relations. No.
No. I'm good. Oh my gosh, travelers, these stories have been insane. I love them.
Yes, I love it. Oh my gosh, keep them coming, please. The audience loves them. We love them. Other travelers love them, and you can share them on our Discord. You can share them at the website, eerietravels.com. You can just click the contact us. There's a place to submit stories and submit questions. Join our Patreon. We've got other ways to get in touch with us that way as well. In fact, that's what helps keep this show on the road. So we appreciate anybody who throws a few bucks our way every month. So that's a big deal to us. So, oh my gosh. Wow, Erika.
Wow.
I'm just floored, right?
Amazing. It's just absolutely.
That's not all of them. I just put the first batch. So we've got more. We will do another episode. We do at least one of these a month. And wow, just that's we had everything on this. We had ghosts, we had UFOs, we had Dogman, a couple Mandela effects. We're good.
Yes. No, I feel thoroughly satiated in my storiness and will be creeped out until our next episode. So it's accomplished the goal as per usual.
Usual.
Thank you, travelers. We look forward. The next couple of months are busy with events for us. So we look forward to meeting more of you in person. We have so much fun when we meet our travelers. It's going to be a really good time. And with that, Mark, do you want to take us away as Beau's favorite part of these episodes?
Yeah, I'm going to say thank you again one last time. Keep up the stories. Please like, share, and subscribe. Invite your friends. Tell them how awesome this was. And for those of you who are listening on the podcast, again, we appreciate any reviews that you can leave on your favorite podcast platform. They help get us a little bit more boosted and all that. It don't cost you a thing, and we appreciate it. So all that said, gang, when you're out there in the wilds, keep your eyes on the sky. Keep your mind open and your ears sharp and listen for those noises. And then when it suddenly gets silent, things are about to hit the fan, and we'll see you on the other side.